Yes guys, welcome to a brand new video. My name is Conan and today we're going to be talking about caffeine. Now for those of you who do not know, caffeine is one of the most widely used substances in the world. It increases your alertness while also reducing feelings of sleepiness and fatigue. And over the last couple months guys, I've become absolutely obsessed with the topic of caffeine. I've read many books on it, listened to countless podcasts with Andrew Huberman and Chris Williamson, and watched hours of videos on this very specific topic. And in today's video, I'm going to break it all down and package it into a really nice, concise way and explain to you exactly how you can use it properly to your advantage. So without any further ado, let's just jump straight into it. So firstly, let's discuss the dosages and the schedule. Now, the FDA, which is the American kind of standard, recommends no more than 400 milligrams of caffeine per day just for the average person, which I think for a lot of people tends to be too much, but then for some other people, maybe too little. Now, when it comes to this, it is really dose dependent and specific on the person, because I know some people are really sensitive to caffeine, whereas others have built up more of a tolerance towards it and are not as sensitive to it. And so here are just a couple general rules of thumb to keep in mind to personalize your own caffeine dose. So it's always start on the lower end of things, then slowly work your way up. So start with around 1 to 3 milligrams of caffeine per kilogram of body weight. I know most people in the US use pounds, and so if you're sensitive, as always, like I said, just go a bit lower. So if you weigh around 100 kilograms, which is around 220 pounds, a tolerable dose of caffeine will be around 100 to 300 milligrams. Research the caffeine containing beverages that you consume, like soda, tea, coffee, and energy drinks, because I know some people just tend to drink some source of caffeine without really knowing how much caffeine is in it. So make sure that you were aware of kind of like the drinks that you were drinking and how much caffeine are within those drinks, right? So popular coffee and energy drinks can contain anywhere from 50 milligrams to up to 500 milligrams, and some as high as 800 milligrams of caffeine, depending on the size and the source. And avoid extending consumption of high levels of caffeine, obviously, right, as there becomes an increased risk of headaches, anxiety, irritability, and blood vessel damage. Caffeine also is a diuretic, causing the loss of fluids, sodium, and electrolytes, which is why it's also really important to drink equal volumes of water with your caffeine to avoid any jitteriness, blurry vision, or a low blood sugar level. Now, when it comes to the timing specifically, I have made a couple of videos on this, but just a quick little refresher. I recommend most people not to drink caffeine first thing in the morning, because as soon as you wake up, your cortisol levels are sky high. And if you notice that if you drink caffeine first thing in the morning and you kind of experience that crash, that afternoon crash afterwards, a couple hours after drinking the caffeine, I would highly encourage you to allow your cortisol levels to kind of come back to baseline, which typically takes around 1 to 2 hours after waking up. Once that has happened, then I would advise you to have your caffeine intake just to avoid any kind of like crashes afterwards. But if you feel fine drinking caffeine first thing in the morning, then that is totally cool as well. Just make sure that you also kind of hydrate before drinking caffeine with water, since most people wake up slightly dehydrated, and that can also cause some fatigue and reduce mental and physical performance. So a couple of rule of thumbs to keep in mind: water first thing in the morning. Ideally, wait at least 1 to 2 hours, then have your first cup of either black coffee or energy drink, whatever you may want to have, right? It's also important to avoid drinking caffeine within 10 to 12 hours of bedtime, because the half-life, and I'll touch on this a bit later on in this video, but the half-life of caffeine actually is 6 hours. So yeah, if you consume, let's say, 500 milligrams of caffeine at noon, you're still going to have around let's say 12 hours in the quarter life, or 12 hours in, you're still going to have a quarter of that in your system, which is going to be 125 milligrams in your body pretty much at midnight. So it's good to kind of like not have it too late in the day as well. Now, here's a fun fact. Consuming caffeine on an empty stomach actually allows for a smaller dose to have the same stimulant and performance enhancing effects. So if you have it fasted, for example, you may notice that you don't need as much in order to yield the same result, right? So I typically like to have, if I do have caffeine, have it on an empty stomach, just so it kind of hits me harder, as opposed to having it on a fed stomach. Now, peak focus and alertness will occur depending on a person, but on average around 30 minutes after consuming caffeine and lasts around 60 minutes. So if you want to time it towards maybe like before you go to work, for example, or before you do your workout, this will be a good kind of like time frame to kind of start consuming your first kind of sip of caffeine. Now, when it comes to sleep and caffeine, essentially adenosine builds up during the day and causes feelings of sleepiness and lethargy. Caffeine works by binding to adenosine receptors in the brain and prevents the effects of adenosine, which helps us feel less tired and more energetic. However, while caffeine can be an effective tool for combating daytime drowsiness, it is also really important, guys, to be mindful of its lasting effects on your body. Although individual genetic variations exist, for most people, caffeine has a quarter life of 12 hours, like I said to you previously, right? So if you have 500 milligrams of caffeine at noon, you're going to have 125 milligrams left of caffeine in your system at midnight, which definitely could affect your sleep, right? And as you all know, sleep is super important in order to build muscle, lose body fat, and actually feel optimized and energetic the next morning, right? So we really want to use caffeine as a tool and not as a crutch, because I know so many people, they go throughout their day-to-day life and they cannot function as a human being until they have their first cup of coffee, right? And they almost like need their caffeine in order to kind of come back to baseline, as opposed to using caffeine as a tool in their toolbox to elevate their performance, whether it's at work or just increase their mental alertness or what have you, right? So even if you're able to fall asleep after consuming caffeine late in the day, the caffeine, right, that can still kind of like disrupt your deep sleep and also your REM sleep. So to protect your sleep, like I said, it's typically best to avoid caffeine for at least 10 to 12 hours before bedtime. So make sure that you time it appropriately, not too early in the morning, and also not too late at night either. Mental performance. Caffeine can have an antidepressant effect because it increases the catecholamines molecules, which include your dopamine, your norepinephrine, and your epinephrine, which increases motivation, alertness, and drive. Regular caffeine consumption improves mood and well-being and is associated with a lower risk of depression, which is quite nice, right? And now when it comes to physical performance, right, you guys have probably seen pre-workout drinks, beverages, tubs, powders. That's the main ingredient found in most of them is caffeine, right? And there's a strong reason for that, because it can definitely increase your physical performance. Like I said, caffeine improves physical performance, including faster reaction time, more alertness, better focus, improved coordination, greater power output, and increased endurance. It also reduces fatigue, increases your VO2 max, enhances strength, peak power output, and muscle contractibility, and improves feelings of well-being during exercise. So this is a really, really awesome tool in the toolbox before one of your workouts, right? Now, of course, with this, use it sparingly. I do not want to see anyone find themselves in a situation, especially my clients, who almost like use this as a crutch, similar to what I said earlier, that people rely on it in order to like feel like a functioning human being. You do not want to have to be in a situation where you start to like rely on pre-workout in order to work out, right? It should be there to kind of like give you like that oomph, especially if you kind of feel a bit tired, long day at work, whatever, which by the way, taking pre-workout after work, like 5 or 6 p.m. is not advised, but let's say it's been whatever, a long night shift or whatever, what have you, using pre-workout sparingly on those days when you kind of feel a bit tired or less motivated, whatever, then it could definitely be a great little supplement to take. But it's definitely not something that you should be taking every single day, because yeah, you can start to rely on it, and once you rely on it, and then you not have it for one day, you don't want your performance to suffer just because you didn't have it on that specific day. Enhanced performance with caffeine abstinence. Hear me out on this. To get the maximum performance enhancing effects of caffeine, here's a little hack or a little thing that you can try doing. Try to remove caffeine for a few days leading up to that, anywhere from about 3 to 20 days, because as we start to use caffeine on a daily basis, you start to build up a tolerance towards it, and you may notice that what may cause you to kind of get amazing effects, let's say from 1 cup of coffee, over time you'll start to get used to that, and the effects may kind of start to dissipate, and then you'll start to up your dosage from 1 cup to 2 cups in order to get the same effect, right? So similar to that situation, if you notice that your tolerance is building up like crazy, then I will definitely advise you to kind of hone in on it, narrow it down, not have as much of it. And then once you go back on it again, you'll get the same effects at a lower dose, right? Which is really important, why it's also important to kind of like have abstinence periods periodically in order to get the same effects with a lower dosage. So using this example, if, for example, on game day, let's say you have this marathon race coming up, which I actually have coming up in the next couple months, or if you have like this really important sports that you're playing and it's game day, or you got this powerlifting meet or this bodybuilding, probably not bodybuilding show, but let's say powerlifting meet, any type of game day event, try doing this. So again, 30 to 20, remove caffeine 3 to 20 days leading up to that event. Then on the day of the challenge, let's say it's a marathon, consume around 30 minutes, consume caffeine 30 minutes before the start. So the caffeine's effects are more potent following a period of abstinence for peak performance enhancing effects. If abstinence is too painful, like let's say you go a couple days without the caffeine and it's just like too painful, try to reduce your daily caffeine dose for 1 to 3 weeks or even for a few days. Then on the day of the challenge, consume your regular caffeine dose for boost in mood, energy, and performance. So it can definitely be something that you can utilize in a really strategic way as well. Dopamine stacking with caution. So this is really important, guys. If you struggle with motivation, avoid frequent dopamine stacking. And here's what I mean by that. Dopamine stacking is a combination of multiple inputs, chemical and behavioral, to increase dopamine release. For example, combining loud music and a highly caffeinated energy drink to ramp yourself up before an intense workout, which is what most people tend to do, right? You get the pre-workout jogging on their way to the gym, blasting music in the car. Maybe they have some other dopamine things that they kind of like do on their phone, whatever. Now, this done in moderation is totally fine, but try not to make this the norm, because now you're pretty much elevating your dopamine levels, and a spike in dopamine will always be followed by a dip below baseline before it returns to baseline, right? So your dopamine spikes, and then let's say here's your baseline, and then as it dips, it kind of dips below baseline, right? Now, when dopamine is low, right, below your baseline, you can feel unmotivated until dopamine returns back to baseline levels, right? So you get the spike in dopamine, it goes down below baseline, and then it takes a while to kind of get back to baseline again, right? The worst thing that you could possibly do when it is in below baseline mode is to try and spike your dopamine again, and this will drive your baseline down even more. So using my little hacks that I just did previously, let's say you have the big dopamine spike, and then once that is done, it kind of goes down, and then it goes below baseline. During this time, don't do anything drastic in terms of like, oh, I feel so unmotivated, what do I do? Because you should not always have to feel motivated all the time, or you should always have dopamine in your system all the time. So allow this phase when it's below baseline to just chill, do its thing, and just expect to not feel super motivated during this time. And don't do anything drastic of like doing some more super crazy stuff to increase the dopamine again, because then when it comes down, it goes in lower than what it was below baseline the first time, right? So be really, really cautious of that. Caffeine is also a strong reinforcer, so we tend to prefer drinks and foods that actually contain caffeine. These reinforcing effects are due to caffeine's ability to improve focus, alertness, mood, and feelings of overall well-being, right? I don't know about you guys, but whenever I ingest caffeine, it just puts me in a really, really good mood. I get excited. I have crazy thoughts in my head of like, oh, I get more creative. I feel like I can do a really good workout. I want to go on a run. I just feel like 10x Conan, basically. Caffeine can also increase the number of dopamine receptors within the reward pathways of the brain. This further amplifies the effects of dopamine and also caffeine, right? Because when you ingest caffeine, your dopamine increases. So it's almost like this never-ending cycle where if you want more dopamine, you just kind of associate that with wanting more caffeine, because caffeine increases your dopamine. So last thing here is use caffeine to reinforce behaviors. Here's a cool little hack. So since caffeine is a super powerful reinforcer for specific experiences, intentionally, right, consume caffeine when trying to incorporate a healthy practice, such as exercise, for example, into your daily routine. Caffeine will increase dopamine to enhance mood and motivation and act as a reinforcer to make the experience or the exercise experience, using the last example, more pleasant and rewarding. Now, it's also best to avoid caffeine when trying to stop a behavior such as with sugar cravings, for example. So, for instance, if you're trying to reduce sugar cravings, make sure that you're not pairing that with coffee. So make sure that you're not pairing coffee, for example, with a dessert. If so, your sugar cravings are doubly reinforced through both sugar and caffeine's effects on dopamine. So that's everything that I have for you. I've compounded everything that I learned about caffeine from numerous hours of listening to podcasts, hours of videos watched, and also a lot of books read on this specific topic. So hopefully this video made sense to you guys, and hopefully now you're fully equipped with the knowledge and the tools you need to use caffeine to your advantage and not use caffeine as almost like a crutch in order for you just to like live optimally, essentially. Now, if you guys do have any questions on this, please let me know. And if you need help reaching your own specific fitness goals, whether it's to build up muscle, lose body fat, or simply want to live a longer, healthier, more energetic lifestyle, and want to use some of these principles that you just learned about caffeine in your own programming, be sure to schedule a free consultation call with me. The link is down below. We'll go over your goals and we'll create a game plan together to help you absolutely crush your goals. If you have any questions on this, please let me know, and I'll see you all soon. Peace.